The grip on Noam's elbow wasn't gentle. It wasn't violent either, just firm enough to steer him through the double doors without asking permission. The kind of touch that said, "You don't get to hesitate here." His shoes clicked against marble he couldn't afford to scuff, and the sound echoed too loud in a hallway that smelled like leather and something sharp. Cologne, maybe, or money. He kept his eyes down. Not because anyone told him to, because that's what worked. The baby pressed against his ribs from the inside, a dull ache that had been there since morning. He shifted his weight, trying to ease it, but the hand on his arm tightened. The man guiding him, security maybe, or just someone who knew how things operated here, didn't look at him. Didn't need to. They turned a corner, and the noise hit him first. Laughter. Deep voices layered over each other. The kind that came easy when you'd never had to worry about being heard. Then the smell. Garlic. What? Meat seared in butter. His stomach twisted. Not from hunger, but from the weight of walking into a room where he wasn't supposed to exist. Hi viewers, kindly tell us where you're watching from and what time it is. The dining hall stretched longer than it should have. Chandeliers hung low enough to cast shadows across white tablecloths, and the men seated around the table didn't notice him at first, or pretended not to. Suits worth more than Noam's rent. Watches that caught the light every time someone gestured. He counted 8 of them. 9 if you included the one standing near the bar. Phone pressed to his ear. The man holding Noam's arm let go near the side entrance to the kitchen. No instructions. Just a look that said, "You know what to do." He did. Noam pushed through the swinging door into the kitchen, where the heat slapped him immediately. Stoves going on all sides. Pans clattering. Someone shouting in Italian. Not angry, just loud. And another voice answering back in Spanish. He found an apron hanging near the prep station and tied it over his belly. It didn't fit right. Hadn't fit right in weeks. A woman with gray streaks in her hair and flour on her forearms glanced at him. Then at his stomach, then away. She didn't say anything. Didn't need to. Noam picked up the tray she'd been loading. Plates already arranged, garnish placed just so, and turned back toward the dining hall. The swinging door opened onto a wall of sound. Expansion into the northern routes. But the infrastructure isn't there yet. Customs won't be a problem if we move it through Montreal first. Noam set the first plate down in front of a man who didn't look up. The second went to an older alpha with silver hair and a scar across his knuckles. The third, careful. The word came from his left. Noam froze, plate hovering 6 inches above the table. The man seated there, younger than the others, dark hair slicked back, smile that didn't reach his eyes, leaned back in his chair and watched him. "You're shaking," the man said. Noam wasn't, but his hands tightened on the plate anyway, and he set it down without answering. The man's gaze followed him as he moved to the next seat. Noam could feel it, the way you feel someone standing too close behind you in line. He finished the round and returned to the kitchen, picked up the next tray, pushed back through the door. They're claiming the shipment was short, but the numbers don't match. Let them complain. We're not renegotiating over 2%. Noam moved between chairs, setting plates down with the same practiced efficiency he'd learned in the first week. Don't linger. Don't make eye contact. Don't give them a reason to notice you. The baby kicked, sharp and sudden, and he exhaled slowly through his nose. Then he heard it. Low, casual, in Italian. Dicono che anche gli omega danneggiati possono ancora produrre. Immagino stiamo testando quella teoria. They say even damaged omegas can still produce. Guess we're testing that theory. The laughter that followed wasn't loud, just enough to know it landed. Noam's hands didn't shake. He set the plate down in front of the man who'd spoken, Luciano, based on the name cards, and straightened. His pulse didn't quicken. His face didn't flush. He just stood there, tray balanced against his hip, and calculated. 3 seconds passed. Then he spoke, quietly, in Italian. I dei medici hanno smentito quella teoria nel 2009. Potresti considerare di aggiornare I tuoi riferimenti. Medical data disproved that theory in 2009. You might consider updating your references. The room didn't go silent. Not immediately, but the laughter stopped. Luciano's smile faltered, just for a second, before he turned in his seat to look at Noam fully for the first time. You understand Italian? Noam met his eyes, didn't blink. I understand several languages, he said, switching back to English. His voice stayed level. Tired, maybe, but not afraid. What I don't understand is why educated men cling to ignorance when it's convenient. Someone's fork clinked against a plate. Another man cleared his throat. The one at the head of the table. Older, gray beard, rings on 3 fingers, leaned forward slightly, watching. Luciano's jaw tightened. His smile came back, but it didn't look the same. Careful, he said again, slower this time. Noam turned and walked back toward the kitchen. His legs felt steady. His hands didn't tremble. But the laughter started again before the door swung shut behind him. And this time it sounded different. Sharper. What do you think Noam should do next? Stay silent or keep pushing back? The kitchen felt smaller when Noam stepped back inside. He set the tray down too hard. The sound cracked through the noise of running water and sizzling pans. But no one looked up. The woman with the flour-dusted arms was plating something with tweezers, arranging microgreens like they mattered. Another cook flipped something in a pan, flames jumping high enough to lick the overhead vent. Noam untied the apron and retied it. His hands moved on autopilot. The baby shifted again, pressing against his bladder this time, and he clenched his jaw. He couldn't leave the floor. Not yet. Not until the next course went out. The rules here were simple. Unspoken, but simple. Don't ask questions. Don't make mistakes. Don't let them see you sweat. And absolutely don't let them remember your face. He'd been working here for 3 months. 14 weeks if you counted it the way doctors did. Long enough to learn the layout. Long enough to figure out which alphas tipped and which ones didn't bother. Long enough to know that pregnant omegas weren't supposed to be on the floor at all. But labor laws only worked if someone enforced them, and no one here was calling inspectors. The agency had placed him, told him it was temporary, told him the family was traditional but professional. Noam had nodded, signed the paperwork, and showed up on time. He needed the paycheck. The baby needed a place to sleep that wasn't his car. So he stayed invisible. Most days that wasn't hard. Omegas blurred together in places like this. Brunette, quiet, compact enough to slip between tables without disturbing conversation. Pregnant ones were swapped out before they started showing, transferred to back office work, or let go entirely. But the budget had been cut last quarter. Someone in accounting had decided that keeping him was cheaper than hiring 2 part-timers. Noam was cheaper. The door to the dining hall swung open, and one of the other servers came through. A beta named Marcus with tired eyes and a posture that said he'd been doing this too long. He didn't look at Noam either. They want the wine refreshed, Marcus said, dumping dirty plates into the industrial sink. Tables getting loud. Luciano's on one. Noam grabbed 2 bottles from the rack and pushed back through the door. The volume had increased. Voices overlapping, someone's hand slapping the table for emphasis. Luciano was leaning back in his chair now, gesturing with a glass in one hand, his other arm draped over the back of his seat. He looked relaxed, comfortable. Noam approached from the side, bottle angled just right, and refilled the nearest glass without being asked. Moved to the next. The next. Problem is they don't understand leverage, Luciano was saying, his voice smooth and certain. You can't negotiate with people who think they have options. Someone laughed. Another voice chimed in, agreeing. Noam reached Luciano's glass. The man didn't pull it toward him, didn't make space. Just let Noam pour around the hand still resting on the table, fingers drumming lightly against the wood. They're like omegas that way, Luciano continued, glancing at the man beside him. You give them an inch, they think they've earned a mile. The man beside him smirked. What do you know about omegas, Luke? You don't keep any. Luciano shrugged. Don't need to. Observations enough. Noam finished pouring and moved to the next chair. His expression didn't change. His hands stayed steady. But something in his chest pulled tight, the way it did when you heard your name in a conversation you weren't supposed to be part of. He returned to the kitchen, set the bottles down, picked up another tray. Marcus was scraping plates into the trash, shoulders hunched. "You good?" he asked without looking up. "Yeah. They say something?" "They always say something." Marcus nodded. That was enough. The next course went out 20 minutes later. Noam carried it on autopilot, setting plates down in the same order as before. The conversations had shifted. Something about shipping routes. Something about a union trying to organize dock workers. Someone made a joke about buying cooperation, and the table laughed. Noam turned to leave, but Luciano's voice stopped him. "Wait." He didn't turn around, just paused, tray tucked against his side. "You're the one who spoke earlier." It wasn't a question. Noam turned slowly, keeping his face blank. Luciano was watching him now, head tilted, eyes sharp in a way that made Noam's skin crawl. "Yes. Where'd you learn Italian?" Noam hesitated, not because he didn't have an answer, because he had to decide which version to give. "School," he said finally. "Simple." "True enough." Luciano's smile widened. "Good school, then." Someone at the table chuckled. Noam didn't respond, just held Luciano's gaze for 2 seconds longer than was comfortable, then turned and walked back to the kitchen. His heart was beating faster now. Not panic, just awareness. The kind that told you someone was paying attention when you didn't want them to. He finished the shift without incident, cleared the last plates, wiped down trays. Marcus left before him, muttering something about an early morning. Noam stayed long enough to fold his apron and hang it on the hook where it belonged. When he stepped into the hallway, the building felt different, quieter. The dining hall lights were off, and the marble floors gleamed under the emergency exit signs. He made it halfway to the side door before he heard the voice behind him. "Hey!" Noam stopped, turned. It was the man from the table, the one who'd told him to be careful. Not Luciano, someone else. How far will Noam go to protect himself before it's too late? The man's suit fit better than anyone's Noam had seen tonight. Charcoal gray, no tie, the top button undone in a way that looked intentional. He stood in the center of the hallway, hands in his pockets, and his expression didn't give anything away. Not curiosity, not anger, just something in between. Noam didn't move, didn't speak, just waited. "You handled that well," the man said. His voice was low, measured. Not a compliment exactly, more like an observation. "Handled what?" "Luciano." Noam shifted his weight. The baby pressed against his ribs again, and he resisted the urge to touch his stomach. "I didn't handle anything. I answered a question. In Italian." He spoke in Italian first. The man's mouth twitched. Not quite a smile. Most people wouldn't have. Most people don't get insulted in a language they're not supposed to understand. That landed. The man's eyes narrowed slightly, like he was recalculating something. Then he stepped closer. Not threatening, just closer. "You know who he is?" "I know enough." "Then you know not to embarrass him in front of the table." Noam exhaled through his nose. His arms felt heavy. His feet ached. He didn't have the energy for this. If he didn't want to be embarrassed, he shouldn't have said what he said. The man studied him for a long moment. Then he pulled something from his pocket. Card, plain white, no logo, and held it out. Noam didn't take it. "What's that?" "A phone number." "I don't need a phone number." "You might." Noam looked at the card, then back at the man. "Who are you?" "Someone who pays attention." That wasn't an answer, but it was all Noam was going to get. He took the card, slid it into his pocket without looking at it, and turned toward the exit. "One more thing." Noam stopped, didn't turn around. "Luciano doesn't forget. Neither do I." He pushed through the side door into the cold night air and didn't look back. The apartment was 20 minutes away by bus. Noam missed the first one and had to wait another 15 for the next. By the time he climbed the 3 flights of stairs to his unit, his legs were shaking. He unlocked the door, dropped his keys on the counter, and collapsed onto the couch without turning on the lights. The baby kicked. Hard this time. Noam pressed a hand to his stomach and closed his eyes. He didn't think about Luciano. Didn't think about the man in the hallway. Didn't think about the card in his pocket. He just breathed. Morning came too fast. The alarm on his phone dragged him out of sleep at 6, and he hit snooze twice before forcing himself upright. Shower, clothes, toast he didn't finish. He was out the door by 7:15, back on the bus by 7:30. The agency called while he was in transit. Noam, yeah, there's been a change. You're being reassigned. He gripped the phone tighter. Reassigned where? Same family, different location. You'll be working in the administrative building instead of events. Why? Budget adjustments. You start Monday. The line went dead before he could ask anything else. Noam stared at the phone for a long moment, then shoved it back into his pocket. The bus lurched forward, and he grabbed the pole to steady himself. Administrative building. That meant less visibility, less interaction, fewer chances to mess up, or fewer chances to be noticed. He wasn't sure which one was better. Monday came. The administrative building sat 2 blocks from the main estate, tucked behind a row of oak trees that looked older than the city itself. Noam checked in at the front desk, got a temporary badge, and followed a woman with a clipboard to the 3rd floor. You'll be filing, she said without looking at him. Organizing records, data entry, standard office work. Okay. Someone will check in with you later. She left him in a small room with no windows. 3 filing cabinets. A desk with a computer that looked like it was from 2015. A stack of folders taller than his forearm. Noam sat down and got to work. It was quiet, boring, safe, for about 2 hours. Then the door opened, and Luciano walked in. He didn't knock, didn't announce himself, just stepped inside and closed the door behind him. Noam's hands froze on the keyboard, but he didn't look up. So this is where they put you, Luciano said. He crossed the room slowly, taking in the filing cabinets, the outdated computer, the single chair. Quite the promotion. Noam saved the document he was working on, closed the file. Then he looked up. Can I help you with something? Luciano smiled. It wasn't friendly. I wanted to see if you were as smart as you pretended to be. I wasn't pretending. No. Luciano leaned against the desk, arms crossed. Then tell me, where'd you really learn Italian? I already answered that. School, right? Luciano's smile widened. What kind of school teaches an Omega to speak 5 languages? Noam didn't blink. I didn't say I spoke 5. You said several. That's at least 3. Italian, English, and what else? Spanish? French? Mandarin? Does it matter? It does if you're lying. Noam leaned back in his chair. The baby shifted, and he felt the pressure build in his lower back. I'm not lying. But if you think I am, you're welcome to test me. Luciano's eyes narrowed. Careful. You keep saying that word. I don't think it means what you think it means. The silence stretched. Luciano didn't move, didn't blink, just stared at Noam like he was trying to crack a code. Then he laughed. Short, sharp, not amused. You've got balls, Luciano said. I'll give you that. I've got work to do. Yeah. Luciano pushed off the desk and headed for the door. He paused with his hand on the handle, glancing back over his shoulder. But just so we're clear, you don't get to talk to me like that again. Noam met his eyes, didn't look away. Then don't give me a reason to. Luciano's jaw tightened. Then he left, the door clicking shut behind him. Noam sat there for a full minute, heart pounding, before he let himself breathe. Then he opened the bottom drawer of the desk and pulled out a small notebook he'd brought from home. He flipped to a blank page and wrote 3 words. Luciano Ferretti. Intimidation. Then he dated it and tucked the notebook back into the drawer. What happens when silence becomes the most dangerous weapon? Noam didn't see Luciano again for 3 days. But he felt him. Started small. A door that opened too slowly when Noam approached. A conversation that stopped the moment he entered a hallway. Eyes that followed him from the break room back to his office. Not hostile, just present. Watching. He kept his head down. Kept filing. Kept typing. The work was repetitive. Names. Dates. Account numbers that didn't mean anything to him but clearly mattered to someone. He didn't ask questions. Didn't make mistakes. Just processed everything in the order it came and locked the cabinets at the end of each day. On Thursday, someone knocked. Noam looked up from the spreadsheet he'd been updating for the past hour. The door opened before he could answer. It wasn't Luciano. The man who stepped inside was older. 60, maybe. Silver hair combed back. Glasses perched on his nose. He wore a suit that looked lived in, not new, and he carried a leather-bound folder under one arm. Noam. Yes, I'm Vincent. He closed the door behind him and gestured to the chair across from the desk. Mind if I sit? Noam hesitated, then nodded. Vincent sat, placed the folder on his lap, and folded his hands over it. I wanted to check in, Vincent said. See how you're settling in. I'm fine. Good. That's good. Vincent adjusted his glasses. I hear you've been efficient. No complaints. Noam didn't respond. Compliments here felt like tests. Vincent smiled, small and knowing. I also hear you had a conversation with Luciano. There it was. Noam kept his expression neutral. He stopped by on Monday. And nothing. He asked me a question. I answered it. He left. Vincent's smile didn't fade. He thinks you're interesting. I'm not. He thinks you're smart. I'm efficient. That's not the same thing. Vincent tilted his head. You speak Italian. Among other things. Self-taught. Partially. Why? Noam leaned back in his chair. The baby kicked and he ignored it. Because languages are useful. For what? For understanding what people don't want you to understand. Vincent laughed. Quietly, not mocking, almost appreciative. He opened the folder on his lap and pulled out a single sheet of paper. I looked into your file. Noam's pulse quickened, but he didn't let it show. Okay. You worked in compliance auditing before this. Briefly. For the Morello family. Noam's jaw tightened. That was a long time ago. 3 years. Vincent set the paper down on the desk between them. You left after you got pregnant. I was let go. Because you were pregnant. Because they didn't want complications. Vincent nodded slowly. And now you're here. Now I'm here. Doing filing work. Yes. Vincent closed the folder and stood. He didn't pick up the paper. Just left it there, facing Noam. You're overqualified for this position. I need the paycheck. Fair enough. Vincent walked to the door, then paused. But if you ever want to do more than file, let me know. He left before Noam could respond. Noam stared at the paper on the desk. His old employee ID photo stared back. Younger, thinner, not pregnant. He folded the paper in half and slid it into the bottom drawer with the notebook. Then he went back to work. That night, Noam stayed late. Not because anyone asked him to. Because the bus didn't come for another 40 minutes, and the building was warmer than the bench outside. He was locking the filing cabinet when the lights went out. Not all of them, just the overhead fluorescents. The emergency exit sign stayed lit, casting the room in a dull red glow. Noam froze. Footsteps echoed in the hallway. Slow, deliberate, getting closer. He moved toward the door, but it opened before he reached it. Luciano stepped inside. He didn't say anything, just stood there, silhouetted against the hallway light, hands in his pockets. Noam's heart slammed against his ribs, but he forced himself to stay still. You're working late, Luciano said. So are you. I own the building. I'm allowed. Noam didn't respond. Luciano stepped further inside, letting the door swing shut behind him. The red glow from the exit sign cut across his face, sharpening the angles. Vincent talked to you. He did. What did he say? That I'm overqualified. Luciano smiled. You are. Then why am I here? Because you're convenient. The word landed like a slap. Noam's hands curled into fists at his sides, but he kept his voice level. Convenient how? Quiet, efficient, pregnant. Luciano's smile widened. Easy to manage. Noam took a step forward. Not aggressive, just closer. I'm not easy to manage. No? Luciano's eyes gleamed. Then why haven't you left? Because I need the job. Because you don't have options. Noam's jaw tightened. I have more options than you think. Luciano laughed. Sharp, cold. Really? Then why are you still standing here? Noam didn't answer. Couldn't. Because the truth was complicated. And Luciano didn't deserve it. Luciano stepped closer. Close enough that Noam could smell his cologne. You think you're smarter than me. I don't think about you at all. Liar. Noam met his eyes. Held them. You came to my office twice. You followed me here tonight. If anyone's thinking about anyone, it's you. The silence stretched. Luciano's smile faltered. Just for a second. Then it came back sharper. Careful, he said again. Stop saying that. Or what? Noam didn't flinch. Didn't blink. Or you'll find out I mean what I say. Luciano stared at him. Then he turned and walked out, leaving the door open behind him. Noam stood there until the footsteps faded. Then he grabbed his coat and left. He didn't take the bus. He walked, the whole way home. What happens when the person hunting you realizes you're not prey? Vincent found Noam in the break room on Friday. Not by accident. Noam could tell by the way he walked in. No coffee, no snack, just the same leather folder tucked under his arm. He poured himself water from the cooler, leaned against the counter, and waited until the two other people in the room finished their conversation and left. Then he spoke. You're good at not reacting. Noam looked up from the sandwich he wasn't eating. What? Most people flinch. You don't. Noam set the sandwich down. Is that a compliment or an observation? Both. Vincent took a sip of water. Luciano came to see you last night. It wasn't a question. Noam didn't bother denying it. He did. What happened? Nothing. Nothing. He talked. I listened. He left. Vincent's mouth twitched. He doesn't usually leave empty-handed. I didn't have anything to give him. Vincent studied him for a long moment. Then he pulled a chair out and sat down across from Noam. The folder stayed under his arm. Can I ask you something? You're going to anyway. Why are you still here? Noam exhaled. He'd been asked that question twice in the past week. Both times he'd deflected. This time he didn't have the energy. Because I don't have anywhere else to go. You're smart, educated. You could work anywhere. Not while pregnant. Plenty of places higher. Not omegas. Noam leaned back in his chair. Not ones who show. Not ones who need flexibility. Not ones who might sue if something goes wrong. Vincent didn't argue. He just nodded. Fair. So yeah, I'm here. And I'm staying here until I can't anymore. Vincent set the folder on the table. Didn't open it. Just tapped it once with his index finger. What if I told you there was a way to make this work better for you? Noam frowned. Better how? You're filing records right now. Organizing documents. It's beneath you. It pays. Barely. It's enough. Vincent leaned forward. What if you could do the job you're actually qualified for? Compliance. Auditing. Real work. Noam's stomach tightened. Why would you offer me that? Because I need someone who sees things. Sees what? Vincent didn't answer. Not directly. He just opened the folder and pulled out a single sheet of paper. A spreadsheet. Rows of numbers. Columns labeled with codes Noam didn't recognize. This came across my desk last week, Vincent said. It's supposed to be an expense report, but the numbers don't add up. Noam glanced at it, then looked closer. They're off by 12%. Exactly. That's not an accident. No, it's not. Vincent slid the paper toward him. I need someone who can find the rest. Noam stared at the spreadsheet. His brain was already working, pulling patterns, tracking inconsistencies. But he didn't touch it. Why me? Because you don't owe anyone here anything. You're not loyal. You're not scared. You're just here. That's not a compliment. It's the truth. Noam pushed the paper back. I'm not interested. Vincent didn't pick it up. Why not? Because people who find things in places like this don't stay employed. Or safe. What if I told you I'd make sure you stayed both? I wouldn't believe you. Vincent smiled. Small. Tired. Fair. He stood, picked up the folder, and headed for the door. Paused with his hand on the frame. Think about it. I won't. You will. He left. Noam sat there for another 10 minutes, staring at the half-eaten sandwich. Then he threw it away and went back to his office. The spreadsheet was waiting on his desk. He stared at it, didn't touch it, didn't open it, just left it there for 3 hours. Then he opened it. The numbers were worse than Vincent said. Not 12% off. Closer to 20. And the pattern repeated across 4 months. Different accounts. Different codes. Same discrepancy. Noam saved the file. Closed it. Then opened his notebook and wrote one line. Vincent. Leverage. He locked the drawer and went home. That weekend, Noam didn't think about work. He cleaned the apartment. Did laundry. Grocery shopped. Made a list of things the baby would need that he couldn't afford yet. Crib. Diapers. Bottles. He tried not to think about the spreadsheet. Tried not to think about Vincent's offer. Tried not to think about Luciano's smile. But Monday morning, when he walked into the office, Vincent was waiting. You looked at it. Noam stopped in the doorway. How do you know? Because you wouldn't be here if you hadn't. Noam set his bag down. Saturday. I'm not saying yes. I'm not asking you to. Not yet. Then what do you want? Vincent pulled another folder from his briefcase. Thicker this time. I want you to look at this. Noam didn't take it. What is it? 3 years of expense reports. Payroll records. Contractor invoices. Vincent set it on the desk. I think someone's been skimming. Who? That's what I need you to find out. Noam stared at the folder. His hands stayed in his lap. And if I do, then I'll make sure you're protected. You keep saying that. Because I mean it. Noam looked up, met Vincent's eyes. Why? Vincent hesitated. Then he sat down across from Noam. Because I'm tired of watching people get away with things. That's not an answer. It's the only one I have. Noam studied him. Vincent didn't look away, didn't deflect, just sat there waiting. Finally, Noam reached for the folder. One condition, he said. What? If this goes wrong, I walk. No questions. No retaliation. Vincent nodded. Deal. Noam opened the folder. And for the first time in months, he felt like he was doing something that mattered. But halfway through the first document, the door opened. Luciano stepped inside. He looked at Noam, then at Vincent, then at the folder. His smile didn't reach his eyes. What's this? How far will Noam go before the system notices he's no longer invisible? The folder disappeared from Noam's desk 3 seconds after Luciano asked his question. Vincent reached across and closed it in one smooth motion, then tucked it under his arm like it had always belonged there. His face didn't change, didn't tense, just stayed neutral. Quarterly audit prep, Vincent said. Nothing urgent. Luciano's eyes didn't leave Noam. In his office? He's helping with data entry. Since when? Since I asked him to. The silence stretched. Noam kept his hands flat on the desk, fingers spread, trying to look relaxed when every muscle in his body was coiled tight. The baby kicked twice, sharp and insistent, but he didn't move. Luciano stepped further into the room. He didn't sit. Just stood there, looking between them like he was solving a puzzle he didn't have all the pieces to yet. You trust him with that? I trust him to follow instructions, Vincent said. He doesn't strike me as someone who follows instructions well. Vincent's mouth twitched, almost a smile. Then you don't know him as well as you think you do. Luciano's jaw tightened. He looked at Noam again. You're moving up in the world. Noam didn't take the bait. I'm doing my job, right? Luciano turned toward the door, paused, glanced back. Just make sure you remember whose building you're in. He left. The door clicked shut. Noam exhaled slowly. Vincent didn't move for a full 10 seconds. Then he set the folder back on the desk and sat down. That was close, Noam said. That was expected. Vincent opened the folder again, flipped to the second page. He's been watching you since the dinner. I know. He thinks you're a threat. I'm not. Not yet. Vincent tapped the page. But if you keep digging, you will be. Noam stared at the numbers in front of him. Rows and columns that didn't match. Money that moved in ways it shouldn't. How deep does this go? Deeper than I thought. And you want me to find the bottom. I want you to document it. Noam looked up. Why? Vincent met his eyes. Because documentation is the only thing they can't talk their way out of. Over the next 2 weeks, Noam stopped filing. He still showed up at 8. Still sat at the same desk. Still locked the cabinets at the end of the day. But the work changed. Vincent brought him spreadsheets, invoices, payroll records that didn't line up. Noam cross-referenced everything, built timelines, tracked discrepancies, and slowly a pattern emerged. Contractor payments that went to companies that didn't exist. Payroll for employees who'd quit months ago. Expense reports filed twice under different account codes. It wasn't just skimming. It was systematic, organized, deliberate, and it all pointed back to the same department. Operations. Luciano's department. Noam didn't tell Vincent right away. He double-checked, triple-checked, ran the numbers 4 different ways to make sure he wasn't seeing something that wasn't there. But it was there. Every time. He wrote it down, dated it, locked it in the drawer with the notebook. Then he went home and didn't sleep. The baby was moving more now. Noam could feel elbows and knees pressing against his skin, shifting positions, making space. He lay on his side with a pillow wedged between his legs and stared at the ceiling. If he told Vincent, things would escalate. If he didn't, nothing would change. He thought about the card in his pocket. The one the man in the hallway had given him weeks ago. He'd never looked at the number, never called, but he hadn't thrown it away either. On Wednesday, Vincent asked him a question Noam wasn't ready for. If I bring this to the board, will you testify? Noam looked up from the laptop. Testify. Explain what you found. Walk them through it. Why me? Because you're the one who did the work. Noam shook his head. I'm not doing that. Why not? Because standing in front of a room full of alphas and accusing one of them of stealing isn't survival. It's suicide. Vincent leaned back in his chair. You think they'll retaliate? I know they will. Not if I'm standing next to you. Noam laughed. Short, bitter. You think that matters? You think one person backing me up makes this safe? I think it makes it possible. Possible isn't the same as safe. Vincent didn't argue, just sat there waiting. Noam closed the laptop. I'll give you the documentation. You present it. I stay out of it. That's not how this works. That's the only way this works. Vincent sighed. They'll ask where the information came from. Then tell them the truth. You hired someone to audit the books. They found inconsistencies. That someone doesn't need a name. They'll want a name. Then make one up. Vincent stared at him. Then he nodded. Okay. I'll present it. You stay in the background. Vincent stood, picked up the folder. But if they push back, if they demand more, I'm going to need you. They won't. They might. Noam didn't respond. Just watched Vincent leave. That night, Noam stayed late again. Not because he had work. Because the bus schedule changed on Wednesdays, and waiting inside was easier than waiting outside in the cold. He was locking the desk drawer when the lights went out. Again. His heart jumped, but he forced himself to stay calm. Reached for his phone, turned on the flashlight. The hallway was empty. He moved toward the door, but it opened before he got there. Not Luciano this time. The man from the hallway, the one who'd given him the card. He stepped inside without a word, closed the door behind him, and leaned against it. His suit was different. Navy this time. Still no tie. "You've been busy," the man said. Noam tightened his grip on the phone. "How do you know?" "Because Vincent's been busy. And Vincent doesn't move unless someone gives him a reason." "I don't know what you're talking about." "Yes, you do." The man pushed off the door and walked closer. Not threatening, just present. "You found something." Noam didn't confirm it, didn't deny it, just stood there. "Luciano knows," the man said. Noam's stomach dropped. "How?" "Because he's not stupid. He knows Vincent, knows how he operates. And he knows you've been spending a lot of time in this office doing more than filing. That doesn't mean. It means he's watching. And when he's done watching, he's going to act." Noam swallowed. "Why are you telling me this?" The man pulled something from his pocket. Not a card this time. A key. Small. Silver. He set it on the desk between them. "Storage unit. 2 blocks east. 3rd floor. Unit 47. "What's in it?" "Copies. Everything Luciano doesn't want anyone to see." Noam stared at the key. "Why give this to me?" "Because you're the only one who'll know what to do with it." "I don't even know who you are." The man smiled. Faint. Tired. "Someone who's been waiting for someone like you." He turned and left. Noam stood there for a long time, staring at the key. Then he picked it up and put it in his pocket. What happens when the evidence you're hiding becomes the only thing keeping you alive? Noam didn't go to the storage unit. Not right away. He went home first, locked the door, double-checked the windows, sat on the couch with the key in his hand and stared at it until his eyes burned. The baby kicked. Hard. Persistent. Like it knew something was wrong. Noam pressed a hand to his stomach. "I know," he whispered. "I know." He didn't sleep that night. Just lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, running through scenarios. If he went to the storage unit and found what the man said was there, he'd have leverage. Real leverage. The kind that could protect him, or the kind that could get him killed. By morning, he'd made a decision. He called in sick. Vincent didn't answer. Noam left a voicemail, short, vague, apologetic, and hung up. Then he grabbed his coat, shoved the key in his pocket, and left. The storage facility was exactly where the man said it would be. Brick building, rusted sign, security camera above the entrance that looked like it hadn't worked in years. Noam buzzed the intercom, gave a fake name, and the gate clicked open. 3rd floor, Unit 47. The hallway smelled like mildew and old cardboard. Noam found the unit at the end, inserted the key, and turned the lock. The door rolled up with a metallic screech. Inside were boxes, at least 20 of them, stacked floor to ceiling. No labels, no markings. Noam pulled the first one down and opened it. Documents, hundreds of them, contracts, emails, expense reports, all dated, all organized, all pointing to the same thing. Luciano wasn't just skimming. He was running an entire secondary operation. Shell companies, fake vendors, money laundering disguised as operational expenses. And it went back years. Noam's hands shook as he flipped through the pages. This wasn't just evidence. This was a blueprint, a full accounting of every illegal transaction Luciano had ever made. And someone had been documenting it the entire time. Noam pulled out his phone and started taking pictures. Page after page, box after box. His storage filled up fast, so he switched to cloud backup and kept going. Took 2 hours. By the time he finished, his back ached and his legs were numb. But he had everything. He closed the last box, stacked them back the way he'd found them, and locked the unit. Then he went home. Vincent called 3 times that afternoon. Noam didn't answer. He needed time to think. Time to figure out what to do with what he'd found. Because this wasn't just about protecting himself anymore. This was about burning the whole system down. That night, Noam sat at his kitchen table with his laptop open and started writing. Not a report, not a summary, a full account. Names, dates, transactions, everything cross-referenced with the photos he'd taken. He worked until 3 in the morning. When he finally closed the laptop, his eyes were dry and his hands cramped. But it was done. He saved 3 copies. One on his laptop, one on a USB drive, one uploaded to an encrypted cloud server he'd set up years ago and never thought he'd need again. Then he went to bed. Friday morning, Noam walked into the office like nothing had changed. Vincent was waiting. "You didn't answer my calls." "I was sick." "You don't look sick." "I'm better now." Vincent studied him. "Where were you?" "Home." "Noam, I said I was home." Vincent's jaw tightened. He closed the office door and sat down. "Luciano's asking questions." "About what?" "About you. About what you've been working on. About why I trust you." Noam kept his face neutral. "What did you tell him?" "That you're good at your job. And he doesn't believe me." Noam leaned back in his chair. "What do you want me to do about it?" "I want you to be careful." "I am being careful." "No." Vincent leaned forward. "You're being reckless. Whatever you did yesterday, whatever you found, it's making noise." "I didn't do anything." "Then why is Luciano calling an emergency board meeting for Monday?" Noam's stomach dropped. "What? Monday, 9 a.m. He's pushing for a full operations review." "Why?" "Because he knows something's coming." Noam didn't respond. His mind was already racing. If Luciano was calling a meeting, he was trying to get ahead of it. Control the narrative. Bury the evidence before anyone could act on it. Which meant Noam had 3 days. 3 days to decide if he was going to stay silent or speak up. Vincent stood. "I need to know what you found." "I told you. Discrepancies in the payroll and expense reports." "That's not all." Noam met his eyes. "It's all I'm giving you right now." Vincent stared at him for a long moment. Then he nodded. "Okay." He left. Noam sat there, staring at the closed door. Then he pulled out his phone and opened the contacts. The number from the card was still there. He'd saved it weeks ago under a fake name. He stared at it. Then he hit call. The phone rang twice before someone answered. "Took you long enough," the man said. "I need to meet." "When?" "Tonight." "Where?" Noam gave him the address of a diner 3 blocks from his apartment. "Public. Neutral. Safe." 8 o'clock, Noam said. "I'll be there." The line went dead. Noam set the phone down and exhaled. He didn't know what he was doing. But he knew he couldn't stop now. That evening, Noam showed up 10 minutes early. Ordered coffee he didn't drink. Sat in a booth near the back where he could see the door. The man walked in at 8 on the dot. He slid into the seat across from Noam without ordering anything. Just folded his hands on the table and waited. "I went to the storage unit," Noam said. And you were right. It's all there." The man nodded. "What are you going to do with it?" "I don't know yet." "You have 3 days." "I know. Luciano's not going to wait." "I know." The man leaned back. "Then you need to decide. Do you want to survive this? Or do you want to win?" Noam frowned. "What's the difference?" "Surviving means you walk away. Keep your head down. Let someone else deal with it. And winning means you make sure he can't do this to anyone else." Noam stared at him. "Who are you?" The man smiled. Faint, sad. "Someone who didn't win." He stood, dropped a 20 on the table and walked out. Noam sat there for another hour. Then he went home and opened his laptop. He had work to do. Can one person dismantle a system built to crush them? Or will the weight of silence bury the truth forever? Noam didn't go into the office on Saturday. He stayed home, locked the door, closed the blinds, sat at the kitchen table with his laptop and the USB drive and started building a case that couldn't be ignored. Not a summary, not a report. A weapon. He organized everything chronologically. Started with the oldest transactions and worked forward. Highlighted patterns. Cross-referenced shell companies with real businesses. Traced money through 3 layers of fake vendors back to accounts Luciano controlled. Took him 14 hours. By the time he finished, his vision was blurry and his back screamed every time he shifted in the chair. But it was airtight. He uploaded the final document to the encrypted server. Sent a copy to his personal email. Saved another on a second USB drive he buried in the bottom of his sock drawer. Then he made one more copy. This one he printed. All 63 pages. Sunday morning, Noam woke up to his phone ringing. Vincent's name flashed on the screen. He let it go to voicemail. 2 minutes later, it rang again. This time, Noam answered. "Where are you?" Vincent's voice was tight. "Urgent. Home. You need to come in." "Why?" "Because Luciano moved the meeting up. It's happening in an hour." Noam sat up. "What?" He pushed it to Sunday morning. Said it was urgent. "Board members are already here." "Why didn't you call me last night?" "I just found out 20 minutes ago." Noam's pulse quickened. "What does he know?" "I don't know. But whatever it is, he's making a move." Noam stood, grabbed his coat. "I'll be there in 30. Bring everything you have." "I will." He hung up. Noam stared at the printed document sitting on the kitchen table. 63 pages that could end Luciano's career. Or end Noam's life. He picked it up, slid it into a folder, put the folder in his bag. Then he left. The administrative building was quieter on Sundays. No security at the front desk. No assistants rushing through hallways. Just the hum of fluorescent lights and the sound of Noam's shoes against the tile. He took the stairs to the 3rd floor. Vincent was waiting outside the conference room. His tie was loose, his sleeves rolled up. He looked like he hadn't slept. "You have it?" Vincent asked. Noam held up the folder. "All of it." "Good." Vincent glanced at the closed conference room door. "They're already inside." "How many?" 8 board members. Luciano, 2 of his department heads. "And me." "You're with me." Noam's stomach twisted. "I thought I was staying out of this." That was before he moved the meeting. Vincent put a hand on Noam's shoulder. "I need you in there. If he tries to bury this, I need someone who can back me up. I'm not testifying." "You don't have to. Just be there. Let them see the person who did the work." Noam wanted to argue, wanted to walk away, but the weight of the folder in his hands kept him rooted. "Okay," he said finally. Vincent nodded. Then he opened the door. The conference room was massive. Long table, leather chairs, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. 8 men in suits sat around the table, coffee cups in front of them, folders open. Luciano sat at the far end. He looked up when Noam walked in. His smile didn't waver. "Vincent, I wasn't expecting a guest." "Noam's been assisting with the audit," Vincent said. "I thought it made sense for him to be here." "Audit?" One of the board members, older, white hair, sharp eyes, frowned. "I thought this was about operational efficiency." "It is," Luciano said smoothly. "But it seems Vincent has concerns about how we're tracking expenses." "Concerns?" Vincent set his briefcase on the table. "I have evidence." The room went still. Luciano's smile tightened. "Evidence of what?" "Misappropriation of funds. Fraudulent vendor payments. Payroll discrepancies." Vincent opened his briefcase and pulled out his own folder. "Over 3 years' worth." One of the board members leaned forward. "That's a serious accusation." "It's a documented fact," Vincent said. He slid the folder across the table. "It's all in here." Luciano didn't look at the folder. He looked at Noam. "Did you compile this?" he asked. Noam's mouth went dry. Every eye in the room turned toward him. "I assisted," Noam said carefully. "Assisted how?" "I cross-referenced expense reports with payroll records. Identified inconsistencies." "And you think those inconsistencies point to fraud?" "I think they point to something worth investigating." Luciano leaned back in his chair. Interesting. One of the board members picked up Vincent's folder and started flipping through it. His frown deepened with every page. "These are serious allegations," he said. "They're baseless," Luciano cut in. "Vincent's been looking for a reason to undermine my department for months. This is just his latest attempt." "Baseless?" Vincent's voice sharpened. "Everything in that folder is documented. Dates, amounts, vendor names. If you have an explanation, I'd love to hear it." Luciano's jaw tightened. "I don't owe you an explanation. You owe the board one." The room erupted. Board members talking over each other. Questions firing. Luciano deflecting. Vincent pushing back. Noam stood near the wall, folder still in his hands, and watched it all unfold. Then Luciano's eyes locked on him again. "Tell me something, Noam," Luciano said, his voice cutting through the noise. "How does a file clerk know how to conduct a financial audit?" The room went quiet. Noam didn't flinch. "I worked in compliance before this." "For who?" "The Morello family." Luciano's smile widened. "And why did you leave?" Noam's hands tightened on the folder. "I was let go." "Why?" "Because I got pregnant." "So you're not exactly unbiased." "I'm not the one being investigated." Luciano's smile vanished. He stood, buttoning his jacket, and walked around the table toward Noam. Slow, deliberate. "You think you're smart," Luciano said quietly. "You think because you can read a spreadsheet you understand how this works. But you don't." Noam met his eyes. "I understand enough." "Do you?" Luciano stopped 2 feet away. "Because from where I'm standing, you look like someone who's in over his head. From where I'm standing, you look like someone who's running out of time." The silence stretched. Then Luciano laughed. Short, cold. "Prove it." Noam opened the folder and pulled out the first page. "Exhibit A," he said. "Invoice for construction materials. Dated March 2023. Submitted by a company called North Point Contracting." He set the page on the table. "Exhibit B. The same invoice. Same date. Same amount. Submitted under a different account code 2 weeks later by a company called North Point Solutions." He set the second page down. "Exhibit C. Business registration records. North Point Contracting dissolved in 2021. North Point Solutions doesn't exist." He set the third page down. "Exhibit D. Bank records showing both payments went to the same account. An account registered under a shell company. A shell company you own." He set the final page down. The room was silent. Luciano stared at the pages, then at Noam, then at the folder still in Noam's hands. "There's more," Noam said quietly. 60 more pages. 3 years of fraud. All documented. All traceable. All pointing back to you." One of the board members stood. "I think we need to adjourn and review this privately." "Agreed," another said. Luciano didn't move, just stood there, staring at Noam like he was trying to figure out how this had happened. "This isn't over," Luciano said quietly. "Yes," Noam said. "It is." Vincent stepped forward. "The board will review the evidence and make a decision. Until then, Luciano, you're suspended pending investigation." Luciano's face went white. "You can't." "We can," the white-haired board member said. "And we are." Luciano looked around the room. No one met his eyes. He turned and walked out. The door slammed shut behind him. Noam stood there, folder still in his hands, heart pounding so hard he thought everyone could hear it. Vincent put a hand on his shoulder. "You okay?" Noam nodded. He wasn't, but he would be. "What happens now?" Noam asked. "Now?" Vincent smiled. Tired, relieved. "Now they investigate. And when they're done, he's finished." Noam looked down at the folder. He'd done it. He'd actually done it. But as he walked out of the conference room, he couldn't shake the feeling that the hardest part was still coming. What price does the truth demand when the powerful refuse to pay it? The compliance audit was announced 4 days later. Not internally, publicly, It made the business section of 3 major newspapers. Federal investigators, subpoenas, frozen accounts, the kind of language that made shareholders panic and lawyers rich. Noam read about it on his phone while sitting in the break room, a cold cup of coffee forgotten on the table in front of him. He should have felt relieved. He felt exposed. Vincent had kept his name out of it. Officially, the audit came from internal oversight concerns flagged during routine financial review. But people weren't stupid. Word spread fast in buildings like this. Noam could feel it in the way people looked at him now. Not hostile, just aware, like they finally saw him. He hated it. On Tuesday, Luciano came back, not to work, to clean out his office. Noam watched from the hallway as Luciano carried a box toward the elevator, flanked by 2 security guards who didn't look at him. Luciano's tie was gone, his sleeves rolled up. He looked smaller somehow, diminished. Their eyes met for half a second. Luciano didn't smile, didn't speak, just kept walking. Noam exhaled and went back to his office. Vincent stopped by that afternoon. "They want you to give a deposition," he said. Noam looked up from his desk. "When?" "Next week. Federal prosecutors. They'll ask you to walk them through what you found. I already gave them everything. They want it in your words." Vincent sat down. "It's optional. You can say no. And if I do, then they'll move forward without you. It'll take longer, be harder to prove, but they'll still build a case." Noam leaned back in his chair. The baby kicked, sharp and insistent. "What do you think I should do?" "I think you've already done more than anyone could have asked." Vincent's voice softened. "But if you want to make sure he can't do this to anyone else, this is how you do it." Noam stared at the ceiling. "I'm tired, Vincent. I know. I'm 7 months pregnant. I have no savings, no backup plan. And I just made an enemy of one of the most connected men in this city. You did. So why does this feel like losing?" Vincent didn't answer right away. Just sat there, hands folded in his lap, looking older than he had a week ago. "Because winning costs something," Vincent said finally. "And you're the one paying it." Noam closed his eyes. "I'll do the deposition." "You sure?" "No. But I'll do it anyway." Vincent nodded. "I'll let them know." He stood and headed for the door, paused with his hand on the frame. "For what it's worth, you did the right thing." "Doesn't feel like it." "It never does." Vincent left. Noam sat there for a long time, staring at the empty doorway. Then he opened the bottom drawer and pulled out the notebook. He flipped to the last page and wrote one line. "Deposition scheduled. No turning back now." The deposition happened on a Thursday. Noam arrived at the federal building at 9 in the morning, passed through security, and was escorted to a conference room on the 4th floor. 3 prosecutors, 2 investigators, a court reporter, no Luciano. They asked him to state his name, his employment history, his role in the audit. Then they started asking about the documents. "Can you explain what you found in the March 2023 expense reports?" Noam walked them through it, page by page, number by number. The prosecutors took notes. The investigators asked follow-up questions. The court reporter's fingers never stopped moving. Took 4 hours. By the time they finished, Noam's throat was dry and his back ached from sitting too long. One of the prosecutors, a woman in her 40s with sharp eyes and a kind smile, handed him a bottle of water. "You did great," she said. "Doesn't feel like it." "It never does." She smiled. "But this is good, really good. We can work with this." Noam nodded. "What happens now?" "Now we build the case. If everything holds up, we'll file charges within 6 weeks. And if it doesn't, it will." Noam wasn't sure he believed her, but he nodded anyway. He left the building just after 2. The sun was too bright, the air too cold. He pulled his coat tighter and walked toward the bus stop. Halfway there, his phone rang. A known number. He hesitated, then answered. "Noam." The voice was calm, familiar. "The man from the hallway." "How did you get this number?" "Doesn't matter. You did the deposition. Yeah. How'd it go? Fine. Good. A pause. You should know. Luciano's not taking this well. Noam stopped walking. What does that mean? It means he's scrambling, calling in favors, trying to make this go away. He can't. No, he can't. But he can make noise. And noise makes people nervous. Are you telling me to be careful? I'm telling you to be ready. The line went dead. Noam stood there, staring at his phone, heart pounding. Then he put it in his pocket and kept walking. That night, Noam couldn't sleep. He lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying the deposition in his head. The questions, the answers, the way the prosecutors had looked at him when he explained how the money moved. Like he'd solved something they couldn't. But it didn't feel like solving. It felt like unraveling. The baby kicked. Hard. Persistent. Noam pressed a hand to his stomach. I know, he whispered. I know. His phone buzzed. Text from Vincent. Board meeting tomorrow. 9 a.m. They're making a decision. Noam stared at the message. Then he set the phone down and closed his eyes. Tomorrow would decide everything. Friday morning arrived too fast. Noam got to the building early, took the stairs to avoid running into anyone, sat in his office with the door closed and waited. At 9:15, Vincent knocked. It's done, he said. What's done? Luciano's out. Officially. The board voted unanimously to terminate his contract. Noam exhaled. And the investigation? Ongoing. But with him gone, they're cooperating fully, turning over records. The prosecutors are confident they'll have enough for an indictment. So it's over. For him? Yeah. Vincent sat down. For you? That depends. On what? On what you want to do next. Noam frowned. What do you mean? I mean you're still working here. Still filing. Still underpaid. Still pregnant. Vincent leaned forward. You don't have to stay. Where would I go? Anywhere. With what you did, you could work compliance for any firm in the city. Noam shook his head. No one's going to hire a pregnant Omega who just blew up a major operation. Some will. The right ones will. Noam looked down at his hands. I don't know if I want to do this anymore. Then don't. What else is there? Vincent smiled. Small. Tired. Whatever you decide. He stood and left. Noam sat there for a long time. Then he opened his laptop and started searching. Not for jobs. For something else. That afternoon, Noam walked out of the building for the last time. He didn't tell anyone. Didn't say goodbye. Just packed his things, turned in his badge, and left. The sky was overcast. The air smelled like rain. Noam walked to the bus stop, sat down, and pulled out his phone. One new message. Unknown number. You did good. Noam stared at it. Then he smiled. And for the first time in months, he felt like he could breathe. But as the bus pulled up and Noam climbed aboard, he couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't the end. It was just the beginning. What happens when the system finally breaks and the invisible become impossible to ignore? 3 months later, Noam stood in a courthouse hallway, watching rain streak down the windows. The baby, a boy, 8 pounds healthy, was asleep in a carrier strapped to his chest. Noam adjusted the strap, checked the buckle for the 3rd time, and tried not to think about how surreal this all felt. A courthouse, testifying. Again, Vincent appeared at the end of the hallway, briefcase in hand, looking as tired as Noam felt. They're ready for you, Vincent said. Noam nodded. How long? 30 minutes. Maybe less. They just need you to confirm the documents. That's it. That's it. Noam exhaled. And Luciano? He's here. His lawyers are trying to negotiate a plea. Will they take it? Doubtful. The evidence is too strong. Noam adjusted the carrier again. The baby stirred but didn't wake. What happens if he goes to trial? Then you'll have to testify again. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. They walked toward the courtroom together. Noam's legs felt heavy, his chest tight, but he kept moving. Inside, the courtroom was smaller than he expected. wood paneling, rows of benches. A judge's bench at the front. Luciano sat at the defense table, flanked by two lawyers in expensive suits. He didn't look up when Noam walked in. Noam was sworn in, took the stand, answered questions. The prosecutor walked him through the documents one more time, asked him to confirm dates, amounts, signatures. Noam answered clearly, calmly, without hesitation. Luciano's lawyer cross-examined. "Mr. Noam, isn't it true that you had a personal grievance against my client?" "No." "You didn't feel slighted by comments he made during a private dinner?" "I felt insulted. That's not the same as a grievance. But it gave you a motive to fabricate evidence." "I didn't fabricate anything. I documented what was already there." The lawyer pressed. Noam didn't crack. After 40 minutes, the judge dismissed him. Noam stepped down, walked past Luciano's table, and didn't look back. Vincent was waiting outside. "You did great," he said. "It's not over yet." "No. But it will be." Noam nodded. The baby woke up, fussing softly. Noam rocked gently, humming under his breath until he settled. "What are you going to do now?" Vincent asked. Noam looked out the window. The rain had stopped. Sunlight broke through the clouds, casting long shadows across the street. "I don't know yet," Noam said, "but I'll figure it out." Vincent smiled. "I think you will." They shook hands. Then Noam left. He took the bus home, fed the baby, changed him, put him down for a nap. Then he sat at the kitchen table and opened his laptop. He'd started writing a few weeks ago. Not a novel, not a memoir, a guide for Omegas working in hostile environments. How to document, how to protect yourself, how to know when to speak up and when to stay silent. He'd published it online under a pseudonym. Free, open access. It had been downloaded over 10,000 times. People were reading it, sharing it, using it. Noam scrolled through the comments. Thank yous. Questions. Stories from people who'd found themselves in situations like his and didn't know what to do. He answered what he could, offered advice, resources, encouragement. It wasn't much, but it was something. A week later, the verdict came down. Guilty. 12 counts of fraud, 8 counts of embezzlement, 3 counts of money laundering. Luciano was sentenced to 15 years. Noam read about it on his phone while rocking the baby to sleep. He didn't feel victorious, just tired, but also lighter, like a weight he'd been carrying for months had finally lifted. That evening, Noam took the baby for a walk. The air was cool, the streets quiet. He pushed the stroller down the sidewalk, past the park, past the coffee shop where he used to stop on the way to work. He didn't stop now, just kept walking. Eventually, he ended up at the storage facility. He stood outside for a long time, staring at the building. Then he went inside. 3rd floor, Unit 47. He unlocked the door and rolled it up. The boxes were still there, untouched. Noam stood in the doorway, staring at them. Then he pulled out his phone and made a call. "It's Noam," he said when the man answered. "I'm at the storage unit. And I'm ready to get rid of it." A pause. "You sure?" "Yeah, it's done. Luciano's in prison. The case is closed. There's no reason to keep it anymore." "Okay, I'll send someone to pick it up tomorrow." "Thanks." "Noam." "Yeah, you did good." Noam smiled. "So did you." He hung up, stood there for another minute. Then he closed the door and locked it. On the way home, the baby woke up. Noam stopped in the park, sat on a bench, and held him while he looked around with wide, curious eyes. "You're going to grow up in a different world," Noam said quietly. "Not perfect, but better." The baby cooed. Noam kissed his forehead. "I'll make sure of it." He stood, adjusted the carrier, and kept walking. The sun was setting. The sky painted orange and pink. Noam looked up, and for the first time in a long time he felt like he was home. Not in a place, but in himself. And that was enough. If this story moved you, or if you've ever felt invisible in a system built to keep you quiet, drop a comment below. Share your thoughts. inspire others. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss the next story that could change the way you see the world. Let's keep building a community where every voice matters. See you in the next one.